Welcome back to Be Productive. One of the things we do on this show is not just talk about ways to increase our productivity, but it's how do we create long term sustainable businesses. And you cannot do that. You cannot be productive unless you have a solid strategic plan. This is something that I talk about ad nauseum with my clients. I do workshops on it, and it's something that we need to make sure we are following. And to help me talk about the importance and some of the key attributes in a solid strategic plan, I have my friend Rob Tritt with a partnership group like no other that is here to be your partner in success in creating your plan. So, Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Claire. It's a pleasure to be on with you.
I love the way that you bring in and that you really sit down with your clients to, again, go deeper in examining not just their goals, but their processes, their systems, and again, making sure that they are measuring and tracking for success. So, when we are talking about putting together a strategic business plan, what are some of the key elements that need to be included in this plan?
So yeah, it's great that you mentioned that and that you work with people as well on the importance of that plan. Some people might say, oh, the business plan is just, a formality. It's not. It really needs to be a living dynamic document that outlines the structure of the business and how the business will move forward throughout its entire life. So important elements of the business plan are obviously the outline of the executive leadership. Who's going to be starting the company? Who's going to be running the company? The management structure as well. Who's going to be the managers who are going to be making the decisions for moving the company forward as it progresses? Um, Obviously, anything related to sales and marketing, outlining those procedures. How is the marketing going to be done? What marketing channels will be used? Um, as far as sales, what's the sales process we're going to use to talk with potential clients? Um, those are the big ones. I, those are the really big ones, I think. Other parts are a little bit more optional, but those pieces have to be in every business plan.
Right. And I would imagine that when you sit down with your clients, you always start with those big ones, but depending on them, their goals, that's where you can start to bring in and massage in some of the other ones, whether you're working with a larger organization, entrepreneurs, and, things like that. But again, I always like to think about the strategic plan almost like a compass, a map. If I were to get into a car and drive from San Francisco to New York City, not only would I lay out my roadmap, I would be checking it again and again and again. Do you find it's the same thing with a strategic business plan? Should we be reviewing it? And if so, how often do you think we should be reviewing it?
Yeah, one of the big mistakes that people make, what business owners make with plans is they design them, then they put into a binder, then they put it on a shelf or in a drawer, it's tucked away, you never see it again. Like I said, the plan needs to change. Uh, it needs to be reviewed at least every year, or as the company changes strategically, or perhaps the industry changes. So when something changes, the business plan needs to change with it, and that document needs to be available to all the stakeholders in the company,
Mhm.
because, like you said, it provides vision. Without that kind of vision, they don't know which direction to go, and that should
Exactly.
be the business plan should provide the roadmap as well. I'm working, I have worked for just recently with a company, as a manufacturing company, and one of the things that we did was revise their their business plan, uh, because they had it for 5 years and they had it in a drawer. And after we revised it, uh, they really started to see why, uh, how it's important to keep it as a current document.
Absolutely. I have people call that, it's shelf help. They, put these things together and then put it up on the shelf. And, it's so true. And I think sometimes they think they have the plan and it can never be changed. And I really appreciate what you said about sometimes, again, the market or the industry changes. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and based upon the economy or, changes that we see in the structure of how business is done, The beauty is not just in doing the plan, it's in the revisiting of the plan because you have to adapt and evolve. And the last thing I want is for people, if they're going over a calendar year, the last thing I want is for them to get to November and say, oh, that didn't work. I wish I would have changed that in April. So, again, being able to always do these checks and balances and to have the flexibility and the freedom to change it and alter it when it makes good business sense. But if they don't have a partner like you guiding them, it's hard for them to start to understand and differentiate what should and shouldn't, be altered. So I think it's
Mm.
really powerful that you're doing that with them. Now, we also know in the reviewing that we're doing, we start to learn things. We learn what works, and we also learn some of the things that don't work for us. So we have to start to look at the numbers. We have to start to look at the analytics. So, in your words, I would love to hear what is the role that the market analytics can play in helping people put together, keep updated, and use their strategic plan for success?
Well, the market analytics is going to tell them exactly where the opportunities are for the business to go. Obviously, if you whatever the profit or whatever the product or service is, you need to make sure that you're selling it to a market that wants it. There has to be demand for it, and oftentimes businesses will launch a product without understanding whether the product actually has demand or if it can be profitably produced and sold. So they end up losing money on that product. And the market, if properly gauged ahead of time, will tell them that.
Mhm. That's great. Excellent. So, Rob, you've been doing this for a while now. About how long have you been working with people on their strategic plans?
Um, 10 years
Yeah,
with
it's a good
them,
amount
yeah.
of time. So you've seen, all different types of, and again, changes in the industry. So tell us a little bit about your company. Where can people find you and what are some of the things that, are really your areas of expertise?
So I like working with companies on their operations issues. I love digging in to help them solve the problems that have them stuck, and then also working with them on designing projects to help them reach the goals. They started a company for a specific reason, and I want to help them reach those goals.
Yeah.
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also call me at 770-256-8216. You can email me at rob@profitpartnergroup.com. And of course, my website is profitpartnergroup.com.
Fantastic. Just in closing, this idea of vision, you brought it up again. Having a partner like you, it's going to help people to not just design the plan, but to make sure that it's connected and it's in alignment with their vision, because that vision is really what drives us long term. So, Rob, thank you so much for being here and for sharing value. And for those of you that are following along, I hope you took a lot of notes. Remember, your strategic plan is your roadmap. Take the time to not just put it together, but to review it on a regular basis. So, thanks for following. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this quick break.